understand what you're saying. No.
There it is.
Let's hear it.
Well, let's hear it.
Talk to us.
Beadle and Decker, taking on sports talk like no one else. Michelle Beadle.
I'm just helping. I'm helping America one by one.
Cody Decker.
I 100% believe in revenge. Revenge is a great thing.
Back to the sports.
Back and ready for more.
Every time I tune them out, they pull me back in.
It's Beadle and Decker. Here's Michelle and Cody.
Hello, everyone. It is a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. And yes, it is time for Beadle and Decker. And yes, I'm your host, Cody Decker. No Michelle Beadle today. She'll be back with us again live tomorrow from San Antonio, Texas. But when you're sitting around on a Tuesday and you just got some of the best friends in the industry, and you got your best friends in the industry that are also badasses, that are also phenomenal in the industry. And since it's a Tuesday, and what better thing to do on a Tuesday than hang out with the very best guy in this industry? You're talking to a Tyrone Tuesday here on Beadle and Decker, the one and only Tyrone Johnson. How you doing, Ty? Dude, there he is. Ugh. Mhm. You know what? It's such an interesting day, and I do admit I've talked plenty of shit about pro wrestling on this show and other shows throughout the years because I'm just not a huge wrestling fan anymore. I worked a little bit in the industry, and that's what got me to truly despise it and pretty much everyone in it. But I will say this, Tyrone, dude, we may actually talk a little bit about the wrestling at some point. There's a chance. Now, they're claiming they can't hear you. I can hear you, so I know it's coming through the system. Just give it roughly 20 seconds, guys. You will hear Tyrone very, very, very shortly. He is not on mute on our end. Tyrone, go ahead and say something.
Reconnect.
You're right there, my guy. You're back in the system. Everyone can hear you. Tyrone Johnson on a Tyrone Tuesday. And yeah, Tyrone is a wrestling fan. We might get into a little bit of the wrestling of it all because there is actually a very interesting thing going on in pro wrestling that is worth discussing. That being said, my guy Tyrone, we had ourselves a natty, and it is official. Michigan, your national champions. They dominated the game from Jump Street in that game. What's your takeaways from the game? Can I just give you briefly mine?
Yeah, of course.
Dude, I enjoyed the physicality of this game. I didn't think it was a very polished game. I thought a lot of people missing shots on both sides, but I really enjoyed the defense and the hard defense, a lot of hard fouls. And by the way, I also appreciate the refs for not leaning on the whistle too much yesterday. It was like watching a hard fought basketball game. I dug it.
Yeah, it was. I did dig the game. You have a UConn team that was plus 21 from the 3-point line and won the rebounding and still lost the game. It shows you that in today's world, because they made 9, Michigan only made 2, so simple math there, 7 times 3. It shows you, though, that basketball, while people get caught up in the 3-point line and all that things, there's a number of ways to win the game, and the better team won. Credit to Hurley for this. He knew the exact style they needed to play to keep it close. They needed to slow down. There were 0 fast break points in the first half. That's the exact kind of thing that UConn needed to stay in the game, and he did coach a very good game. But at the end of the day, Michigan was the better team, and the right team won the basketball game, despite the fact that it was a rock fight.
Completely agree. I thought the better team won, and yeah, I had Arizona all the way through. But after watching what Michigan did to Arizona, I just started laughing. I'm like, they're going to dominate the final game, aren't they? And they did. I mean, I honestly think the score feels closer than it actually was. But
yeah,
watching them every single time that UConn would get back into the game, and I'm talking back in the game within 6 points, right around that 6-point mark. And Michigan would always hit a 3 out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, they just kept it at a very comfortable 9, what felt like the final 20 minutes of that game.
Yeah, they did. They were able to get into the paint, and they made, at one point, they made 20 consecutive foul shots. 20 consecutive foul shots. That's insane as well. I really like this Michigan team. I had picked them to win the whole thing. I had Arizona in the Final Four. I had picked them to win the whole thing. But what I also liked about it was these guys, I was talking to somebody in the NBA that was saying that Michigan has no lottery picks, but they have the most pros. And most guys are going to actually play in the league over the long haul. So we look at this team 3 years from now. You look at everybody in this field. Michigan's going to have the most guys that stick in the NBA. Maybe none of them are stars in the NBA, but they have a lot of pro basketball players. And some of these teams with the shooting stars, a la Duke, they didn't have those guys overall. They didn't have the depth of those guys. There are as many guys that are going to play in the league, and I think that's what really led to Michigan winning this game. A lot of really good players. They played 8, and I believe 6 or 7 of them have a future in the NBA. And I don't think you can say that about the other side with UConn.
Yeah, so phenomenal end to that tournament. What were your thoughts on the tournament as a whole, though? Because I'll freely admit this. Now, I definitely loved the first couple of days of the tournament. It's like my favorite, just wall-to-wall elimination games. I just absolutely dig it. But I have to admit, even though there were some blue bloods in there, teams that I definitely root for, and even me knowing that my UCLA Bruins were going to get knocked out when they did, I just kind of there was something to me that felt missing. And I don't know what it is. Is it that idea of a quote-unquote Cinderella? And in this day and age of NIL, would you agree that Cinderella, even though I don't firmly believe that the Cinderella teams really existed all that much to begin with, they're pretty much dead at this point now, right?
They can win a game, but they really can't make it to the second weekend anymore, because if you're on one of those lesser teams, like you see Seattle's score, for example, Seattle's first tournament for the first time in forever. Now he's in the portal. The expectation is he follows his coach to Syracuse. But why would you stay at those smaller schools when these other schools are going to call you? Michigan's best player, Big Ten Player of the Year from my high school, Pennsauken High School, he was at UAB, and then he ends up at Michigan. Why would you stay at Alabama, Birmingham when Michigan calls? So I think in that way that day's over, but also the day of Carmelo Anthony being the super freshman that carries the team, that's also over. This is now 2 years in a row now where veteran teams were the teams at the end. Now, don't get me wrong. Star players can still be on those squads. But as far as a star freshman leading to a championship, I think that's over as well. You're not going to see that anymore. You're going to see freshmen in the tournament like you did with Boozer with Duke, like you did with BYU. You're going to see it with Kansas. But as far as winning the whole thing, no, you're going to see grown men winning it, not kids. And that's another thing we have to get used to. Before, when a lot of those upsets happened when you had a lot of kids playing against a more mature team. So this team comes in, you don't know the players, but they're all 21, 22, 23. And they're men. Right, against 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
Now that's over. You're not going to see those teams with the 18 and 19-year-olds really excel. And you saw with Michigan, they got a bunch of seniors on that team, a bunch of upperclassmen on that team, and it showed. This is now a men's tournament. It is no longer a boys' tournament.
Completely agree. And speaking of tournaments, also my UCLA Bruins, just want to touch on this one last time, winning the national title. This is why I think it's really badass, just for a couple of reasons. And I'm not saying this just because I'm a UCLA homer. I absolutely am. Dummy's got a banner of me in left field. There's a lot better players that play there than me, yet somehow I conned them into putting a banner of me up in left field at UCLA. That being said, dude, I got to say, this is, when you think of UCLA, even though baseball right now is number 1 in the nation, has won a national title there, and this is the school that wins so many national titles in so many different sports. In fact, the first school in the country that got to 100 national titles. UCLA is known as a basketball school, period, stop. Most wins of any national championship, 12 championships. It's the school of John Wooden. And John Wooden, if there was ever a man that truly was Captain America, his name was John Wooden. He was the only coach I think ever existed that was exactly as he was portrayed as. Like, it's almost like Mr. Rogers, but winning national championships. It was wild. Seeing this happen for the women's side is cool for 2 reasons. 1, it's a blue blood basketball school that wins a national championship in basketball. And 2, the women's side has never won a national championship at UCLA. And to me, that both of those aspects of it is just absolutely badass.
Yeah, I agree with you on that completely. A likable team. They were probably underrated during the season. And it also sets up very interesting now with USC getting players back, with Juju coming back. You now have like an in-city real rivalry going into the following year. But to me, the key for women's basketball as they're in this growth phase is they need more schools that people believe can win it. You need more schools that people believe can win it, because still, even though they're going to expand it on both sides, there's not 64 good women's teams. And I'm not saying there's 64 men's teams, but there's closer to 64 men's teams. You still have those 30-point, 40-point, 50-point blowouts on the women's side. This helps grow the game by having a new champion. So now, year to year, just think about it. For a long time, it was basically UConn and Tennessee, and that was it for a while. That was it for a while. Now you have South Carolina, who people believe in. Those teams aren't going. Tennessee's in a rough spot right now, but Texas is now a team people take seriously. Stanford had a run. Notre Dame had a run. And now UCLA has this run. And if you add USC, who's going to arguably have the best player in the country back next year, you have a situation where, wow, we'll get to a women's tournament and maybe more than 4 teams can win it. Maybe 6 teams can win it. Maybe 8 teams. And that's how you actually grow the game, because alum like you want to believe in their school. You want to believe in it. You need that for college. It's different than the NFL, different than all the pro sports. And finally, with the women's game, it seems to be getting to the point where Oklahoma got a top 5 player recently. It's starting to spread out, and the sport needs to continue to grow, and this to not be a blip where we look back on and go, man, remember when people were talking about women's basketball? This can grow, and that's why I think it was important for a new school to win, and that's part of the reason why I'm happy for UCLA.
Completely agree. In fact, just to make your point a little bit higher, the last 10 different champions, let's go through it. South Carolina in 2017, Notre Dame. That's actually one of the few outliers on this list. Baylor, definitely not an outlier because they won a national championship right before that, and Mulkey is the head coach. So I'm going to more count that along the lines of something else. Stanford absolutely had a run, and a bit of an outlier here because you're back to the South Carolina, back to Mulkey, and LSU, and you got South Carolina again, and you got again. And then, of course, UCLA, another one of those outliers. So, yes, I completely agree with you. It's been a who's who in the women's side, but I don't know if you've seen, you mentioned Tennessee, which has always been a storied program on the women's side. Have you seen the shit show that's going over there? 0 players on your squad right now at Tennessee? Oh,
see, and that's the problem. Men, women, or whatever, after South Carolina beat them, she basically said her team quit. And they asked Dawn Staley after the game about it, and Dawn's response was, I wouldn't have said it publicly. She said it. She said, I wouldn't have said it publicly. She was like, you have to trick the players. You got to find a positive. And I think this coach who was a Mulkey disciple. In fact, she was pregnant and didn't want to take the job. And she was worried that Mulkey talked her into taking the job. She needs to learn, or she's going to be out. She's going to be out. And you just saw Virginia had a coach that did something they never done before, and they fired her. That's the other part of this game. They're now treating the women more and more like the men, where sometimes on the men's side, a lot of times they don't deserve to be fired. That's starting to happen as well. So this is a special moment. If you have a daughter, a special moment that all of a sudden, like, doesn't recruit me, and Tennessee doesn't recruit me. Now all of a sudden, you have all these options, and having 10 options for women's sports when you used to have 1 is a big deal. It's a big
Absolutely. Deal. Completely agree. And just to put a stamp and final thing on the Geno crash out that we got, just for a quick reminder, just because it makes me kind of happy, I would love us just to quickly go through the Geno crash out bit by bit real quick. So let's do that. Here is the ending of the game of which everything spawned from.
The officials will hold the players now. Dawn and Geno getting into it a little bit on the sideline as Geno has to be held back. And Dawn and Geno, that's part of what makes this rivalry.
Dawn would have whooped that ass, man.
Yes, she would. North Philly not afraid of a damn thing. She'd have whooped Geno's ass. She'd have whooped Geno's ass on that sideline. Punk ass Geno. You done got your ass whooped that. Now you lucky. You lucky there were people in between. Dawn would have whooped your ass, Geno. Now you're knocked out by a girl. Good luck recruiting now and trying to be a disciplinarian with your players when they didn't see your ass get knocked out at center court by another woman. She's like, I'm way bigger than Dawn. I'll knock your ass out too, Geno. Good luck. You lucky, Geno. You lucky. Could have got your ass whooped.
A lot of people holding Dawn back right there, man, is all I'm saying. Well, anyways, here was Geno right after the game with his wonderful sentences.
Some raves on the sideline and calls the referee some names you don't want to hear. And now we get 6-0, and I got a kid with a ripped jersey, and they go, I didn't see it. Come on, man. This is for the national championship.
Yeah, that was actually after the third quarter of the game. And here's the other part. The player ripped her own jersey. And it ripped her own jersey. Okay, there were 6 fouls to 0. Well, here's the thing. You guys didn't attack. You guys had shot the ball with 38-0. Meanwhile, South Carolina's playing downhill. You're not. Who's going to get a foul call? It's very simple. You're not going to hit a home run bunt. Okay? One team's swinging for the fences. The other team's bunting. Who do you think is going to get rewarded? The team that's swinging. You're not going to get a bunt double. The team that's swinging the bat is going to get the double. South Carolina was taking the swings, and what this came down to was Gino counted his chickens before they hatched. 38-0. They were favored in the series. He thought they were going to win a championship, and he thought this was going to be another one of them where he would have been 40-0 because that would have been 39, and then the championship game would have been 40. And this would have been another 40-0 team, and he has all those undefeated squads, and he thought it was done. And once South Carolina got on that ass, he did not have a plan B, and his players didn't have a plan B because it had been too easy. South Carolina had got to play Texas multiple times. Therefore, they had a loss in there. They were mixed up in there. They weren't ready for the moment. He wasn't ready for it. And then rather than take it like a man, Dawn took it from him like a man.
Yeah. And don't worry, because he, of course, put out the most important apology in sports history. Let's just remind ourselves how great this apology was. There is no excuse for how I handled the end of the game versus South Carolina. It's unlike what I do and what our standard is here at Connecticut. I want to apologize to the staff and the team at South Carolina. It was uncalled for how I reacted. The story should be how South Carolina played, and I don't want my actions to distract from that. I've had a great relationship with their staff, and I sincerely want to apologize to them.
To them. Who's them?
To the staff. Who's staff?
Well, who's staff? Who's staff? I don't know staff. You know staff?
Yeah, I haven't met any. What's staff like?
Yeah, I have no idea. And the other part was in between his crash out and that apology, he claimed that Dawn didn't shake hands before the game like customary.
There's video!
Of course there's video. Not only did she shake his hand, she went down the line with the staff. She coached, every single one of the coaches got a handshake before the game. Just admit you were mad because you lost. That's the whole thing. You were being a sore loser. That's it. And if you had been mad enough to say that, fine. Meanwhile, when Dawn's team got their ass kicked by UCLA, and I'm not afraid to say it, it was a beating. From minute number 1, UCLA was the better team. Dawn took that beating like a woman, shook hands, congratulated the coach, had nothing but positive things to say about the team. And then you know what she's going to do? Recruit and come back and try to get them next year. Because that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, and by the way, here you go. Here's the difference in how to lose a game. Here's Dawn Staley.
Happy for people who worked hard in this game, who are really quality people. I want good things to happen for them. And Corey is one of those people who really works at making our game better. Not just UCLA, but our entire game. She's always speaking out and uplifting our game in so many areas that it's hard to continue to do that while maintaining the job that you have to do every day, but she finds the time. So, although we didn't win, I could swallow it because we lost to a really good human being and a good team that represent women's basketball well.
No notes. Amazing. Dawn Staley's the greatest.
That's all you want. That's all you want. That's all you want. And that's the way to do it. And now she can go back into the locker room and read her players the riot act in private if she so chooses. Hey, we should have been ready for this. Like, also, she could take it on herself. I didn't have you guys prepared, whatever it might be. But publicly, you have to recognize, and this is something that I know we're going to get to, I think, with the baseball in a little while when we talk about the Giants. Every day in a game, someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. And you should go up there when you're a coach, whether it's Little League, all the way through the NBA, NFL, MLB. Someone's going to win and someone's going to lose every single day. And it seems like Gino is very comfortable recognizing that he's going to win, not that somebody's going to win. And that's there's a difference. Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. And sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug. And it seems like Dawn understands that, and Gino didn't understand that.
Well, just so we're all clear here, we finally have ourselves an end. Oh, and by the way, Swaggy McNolegs might be nailing it. Maybe he meant Don Staffley.
Yeah, there you go. Dawn Staffley. That's a good one. Yeah, this came out finally at 2:05 p.m. today.
Here we go. Congratulations. Gino is being let off the hook by Dawn Staley, and we can all determine if we're going to be as great as Dawn Staley. Here's Dawn Staley's words. With the college women's basketball season behind us, it's time to move forward and close the chapter on how our semifinal game with UConn ended. I spoke with Gino, and I want to be clear. I have a great deal of respect for him and what he's meant to this game. One moment doesn't define a career, and it doesn't change the impact he's had on growing women's basketball. The standard at UConn is what it is because of him, and that's something this game has benefited from. So I'm asking everyone to turn the page. Let's refocus on what matters most, continuing to elevate our game, creating opportunities, and pushing it forward. That's always been my mission, and it's not changing. Dawn Staley. Damn it! Yes, Dawn, I will do exactly what you ask.
Yeah, I'll do it, and for this reason. And it's a shame because we're guilty of it, but it's not our fault. Because if we're going to be honest, because I'm a person who tries to actually consume women's sports, but I have to also be honest. When I talk about this, I have a responsibility to be honest.
Yes.
We're at the point now where the coaches are more famous than the players at this moment. And because of that, because of the crash out by Gino, we end up talking more about Gino and Dawn than UCLA winning. And that's what's so damaging about what he did. And if we're going to do our jobs or we're going to talk about the women's sports, we have to talk about the thing that the most people care about. And at this moment, more people care about Gino and Dawn than UCLA, even though you're alum and you express your love for them. And that's what I don't like. Don't give us something to distract us because the sport's not big enough for us to not take that bait. We have to take that bait to do our jobs. Therefore, don't give us the bait. Like, for example, Susan Rice used to be an ambassador. She was in the Obama administration. Her daughter's on the UCLA team. Were you kidding me? Like, Nepo or not, she plays for that squad. So I don't think she's getting free minutes. Like, hey, we want to play because we want Susan Rice. Like, but that doesn't come up because we couldn't dig into the nuance of the team because of the crash out. So that's why I appreciate Dawn. I believe Dawn is trying to squash it because she recognizes what we're talking about. I'll take her word for it that she claims she heard from Gino. Because we know she didn't hear from Gino from the first apology. But perhaps between then and now, I'll take her word for it and I'll be ready to move on. But for people wondering why we were talking about it today because today is when Gino finally got around to contacting Dawn, and that allowed Dawn to then today is when she, after the men's tournament's done, then he contacted Dawn, and that's why we're talking about it. And that just shows you that we can all learn something. I don't think most of us are, I don't even think Gino's like this on a good day, but it does show us a bit of how we have to be better on our bad days. Don't let our bad days become horrible days. If you get a flat tire, don't drive on the rim and now ruin the car. Like, take your bad day and just let it be a bad day. Don't compound it like Gino did.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, let's go ahead and let's move on to some quick hitters, my guy. All right, question number one. I'm not sure if you've seen, but there is a documentary that's going around right now that's being claimed that one side's claiming it's a hit piece, the other saying it's very thing, and it's about Bob Barker and his time as the Price is Right host and apparently this gaggle of women that he had. Now, if you do remember, Bob Barker did have a situation towards the later years of his career where a thing with a woman came up, but it honestly, at the time, at least how it was portrayed, came out like an extortion type of thing. And at least that's how it was portrayed and how it's kind of remembered. But this documentary is showing new light on the other things, while others are saying it's a complete and utter fabrication hit piece. Now, I haven't seen the documentary, so I honestly can't say where I fall on this at all. I know.
When I saw this in the rundown, this was the challenge. While Bob was hosting it, to me, he's the best, and it is The Price is Right, is my favorite game, period. But you said best game show, not best host game show. So then I have to include the Drew Carey years. And I feel like Drew is falling off. So that puts me in a spot where I now have to combine host and the game. And if I do that and longevity, I have to go Family Feud because you had Richard Dawson kissing all the women. Ray Combs, rest in peace,
he was so
terrible.
Great.
Right.
My parents were on that, by the way, twice with Ray.
With Richard Dawson?
No, with Ray. With
right, Ray Combs, right. And then you have Steve Harvey. So I think because the fall off was never big, because I loved Ray Combs, I'm going to go Family Feud because I want to do the whole lineage of the show. Family Feud. But if you're talking about just one host, one show, for me, it's clearly Bob Barker. And even though it hit piece to say it's racist, it still doesn't change my mind.
I mean, I need to see this thing. I gotta inform some sort of opinion because I don't know. I'm feeling really confused and conflicted on where I should put my loyalty.
Now, real fast before you answer. Now, I had heard that one of the Barker beauties, Holly, who he did not have relations with, has hated him for 30 years.
Okay.
She never sued him. She couldn't stand him. And when the thing came out, what Bob said was it was consensual. Now, here's the deal. You're the host. Right. No, he said that they had sex, but it was consensual. Is it really consensual at one of the Barker beauties? Because I'm sure it was inferred that if you don't let me hit, you're out.
Oh, no.
No, because he said that they had sex, but he said it was consensual.
I know, consensual.
But is it really consensual if there's a power dynamic there? So that's the tough part.
It is. Oh, God, now I don't want to watch this documentary.
Before watching that, those are the things I knew about going into these stories.
I'm going to put water on your choice on Family Feud because I agree. I love Family Feud. Family Feud is just pure gold. Richard Dawson, yes. Ray Combs, unquestionably. But you have somehow forgotten that there was a Louis Anderson set of years that wasn't great. There was a Richard Karn set of years that weren't great. No, there was a John O'Hurley years that were not good. Yeah. Now, I freely admit, Steve Harvey, fucking elite. Brought that show back from the dead. But there was a solid 12-year dead period there that was really hard. And this is what I'm going to do, man. And I'm going to go old school. The answer is Jeopardy. Because even though we had that really little rough run in there while we were trying to figure shit out, we eventually got to a host that I do appreciate enough as a former Jeopardy winner and longevity Jeopardy winner that we had. And are we going to sit here and say that Alec wasn't the best? That man could do no wrong. The pride of Canada.
Now, you're not wrong, but
mustache or no mustache?
We got to have the mustache. You got to have the mustache. Was it a bit of a know-it-all? I always felt like the way he said the answers was like he knew. You didn't know all those answers, Alex. You had the answers in your head, Alex. Like, that's the only part about me. Like the current host, I think he knows a lot of these answers. He doesn't have to look
he does too.
Okay. But other than that, it's been a stalwart. It can't be Wheel of Fortune. And here's why. It can't be Wheel of Fortune. First of all, Pat Sajak is not an elite host. Now, and Seacrest is fine. There's no drop-off to me. They're the same, but it's not elite. And I don't know what to think about Vanna because I'm going through so much with Vanna, okay? Mm-hmm. As a kid, she's just the lady turning the letters. Then after a while, I was like, man, like puberty's happening. Could I hit Vanna White? Like, would she let me hit like Vanna? Like, I don't know. She's like, she's dressing like how she dresses and she's out there. Like, would Vanna let me if I asked her? And then you get to like the elder stand. Like, I don't know what to think about that. I've been through so much with Hannah over the decades.
Listen, I will admit I've seen a couple of her hosting, and you know, it doesn't seem like the hardest show to host because, as you said, Pat Sajak was just fine.
Like, he's not bad, but just there.
Perfectly fine. He was there. He was as interchangeable as can be. That's why Seacrest is just like, I haven't even noticed a change.
No drop off. No drop. It's the same. It's like, okay. Don't miss him at all.
And by the way, I don't dislike Seacrest.
Neither.
He's just like, he's like a chair. He's just like there when you just kind of need a host that is so safe that you don't really care.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not for me. All right, next question. You sent me this story, and it's kind of fascinating. Dodgers refused to print tickets for an 81-year-old season ticket holder. What are your thoughts on this? And do you miss paper tickets? Because I got to admit, I miss paper tickets, man.
Here's the messed up part with the 81-year-old Dodger fan. So he's 50 years season ticket holder. 50 years. Okay, 81 years and he has a flip phone. So he literally can't get his tickets on his phone. For years, apparently, they had printed it for him. Start the season, he wanted to go. So he goes to the box office and buys some tickets. And they handed him 4 paper tickets. So you know it's possible. Why won't they print this man's tickets for him? I think things right. And they're the best team in baseball, and they're the favorites to win the World Series. This, to me, is a trash move by them. A trash move by them. Print the tickets for the 81-year-old. And I understand you say, well, if we do it for him, we'll have to do it for other people. Let me tell you something. Make a rule. Put it in writing if you want. 25 years or more as a season ticket holder over the age of 60. Okay? Put it in there if you want. But you see, he's a loyal guy. You've been taking his money for half a century. Print his damn tickets. Print his tickets. What do we do?
Yeah, you have a printer at Dodger Stadium. Print his fucking tickets. I don't care if they're fucking 8x10 sheets. Just print him some fucking tickets.
Print him his tickets. He should have 81 tickets. And yes, 81. And if you have to collate it because he's got 4 season tickets or whatever it might be, because he brings the grandkids and stuff, so be it. Just do it. Just do it. 50 years. Now, I don't want you to print my tickets. You don't have to print my tickets. I have the ability. I can do it, okay? I understand if you don't want to print my tickets. Print his tickets, period. Period. Print his tickets.
And by the way, Dodgers, if I want to get my ass off the grid and I go fucking flip phone burner lifestyle, then you're going to print my fucking tickets too.
Right. If someone has paid their money. Now, I understand if somebody right before they haven't paid or whatever, he's paid his money for 50 years. Print, as you said, print his fucking tickets. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I mean, come on.
This is like a story we shouldn't even. How will we solve the problem? Print the fucking tickets.
Print his tickets. He's there. He has to go to the news. Like, I found out about this. He had to go to the news. The man's 81. Listen, he's a spry 81, but he's a shaky 81. Like, he's not fully, like, he's starting to hunch a little bit. Like, he's 81.
Yeah, he's getting there.
50 years. Come on.
There's a lot of steps at Dodger Stadium, dude. Like,
what are we doing? As far as just missing the paper ticket in general, I will say this. For just going to a generic concert, generic game, things like that, no. But I went to a festival. And I'm going to name some of the acts I saw real fast because I have it in my phone saved because I don't have a paper ticket for this festival. Okay, let me scroll up. Now, some of these are smaller people, Jungle, Clean Bandit, Logic, DJ Mustard, Casey Elephant, Glass Animals, Paul McCartney, Gary Clark Jr., Matt and Kim, Kid Cudi, Steve Aoki, Bahamas, Citizen Cope, Snoop Dogg, The Killers. I would like to have paper tickets for that kind of show. So to me, it's about legacy. I don't need paper. I can be honest. If I'm just going to one Sixers game, one Dodgers game, one Kings game, etc., I don't need the paper ticket. But playoff games, championship and elimination games, there's certain time, big concerts, Stevie Wonder, Paul McCartney, the top people. I went to a Prince concert. I do not have the paper ticket.
Dude, I went to an Oasis concert this last year. I would like to have that paper ticket. But say, like, I'll give you an example. Like, My dad, this is a true story. Fernando Valenzuela, when he threw his first no-hitter here at Dodger Stadium, my dad had tickets to that game, and he didn't
Your dad
know.
was at that game.
No, he gave his tickets to his best friend,
Oh,
and his best friend from the stadium called him from a payphone, yelling, "You missed the greatest game ever! Hey, Fernando did it! He threw a no-hitter." That guy's got paper tickets to this day to that Fernando no-hitter, and I fucking would too if my idiot dad didn't give away the tickets. I would have inherited that shit.
Of course you would have. That's unbelievable that he doesn't have that. And the thing is, you never know when that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I understand what they should be able to do because they don't want anybody to pirate things and stuff. Uh-huh. If something was to happen, everyone that was there, send us something we can at least print out. They know who was all there. They have all our email addresses. If there's a no-hitter at a game you're at, if it's the Lakers somehow win the championship this year and they beat the Knicks or the Pistons and everybody that's there, send them something if you don't have the paper ticket if something special happens. Because in that way, that's where I missed the paper ticket. With something, there you go. There you go. Look at that.
Only paper ticket I have. This is the paper ticket from my major league debut when I got my first day in the big leagues. Got the paper ticket at Arizona. And yeah, it's actually something that's pretty cool that I get to have. September 14th, my first day in the big leagues.
Now, so imagine your dad, mom, etc. They all go, they hook it up, and then they don't give a paper ticket. It's like, well, wait a minute. My son made his major league debut, so I think that like I because I don't want to be a get off my lawn too much because I understand why
I do too.
They don't, but. Like I said, when something is special, or make exceptions for 81-year-olds who have been paying you for 50 years, and I have to agree, I do prefer the paper ticket, but then you had people scalping them, and then you had this and that.
No, I understand.
Then people were printing out fake tickets, and then when you go to scan it with the barcode, and it's a fake barcode. Like, I do understand it, but I do miss it, especially for special concerts. Like, I've been to bad concerts, I've been to great concerts.
Mm-hmm. Dude, right there. There's
an
example.
18th. Wow.
Pretty sweet right there. That's pretty sweet. All right, next question on the quick hitters. Very, very simple. I went to McDonald's for the first time in like years the other day. And it's because I was in a pinch. I was driving in the morning and I didn't have enough time to get any food. And I was actually really, really hungry. So I drove by McDonald's and I'm like, you know what's going to work? I haven't had an Egg McMuffin in a while. So I got 2 Egg McMuffins and that was that. And I ate those. I fucking still love an Egg McMuffin, my guy. And I'll admit, if I'm going to McDonald's, that's really the only thing I'll get. I will the truth. I can't eat them anymore. I lost a bet and I had to eat 75 chicken nuggets in one sitting, and I have not been back for chicken McNuggets. But dude, my go-to is the Egg McMuffin. What's your go-to?
No, I don't want to steal it, but it's got to be a specific way. I need the Egg McMuffin. I need the hash brown, and I don't drink coffee. Just in general, I don't drink coffee. So I want the bottled water. I know it's Dasani. I don't care. That's what I want. Egg McMuffin, hash brown, bottle of Dasani. Let's go. That is my go-to at McDonald's. That is the go-to.
All right.
And it's real. They crack the egg. It just happens to be a circle. That's an egg. Sometimes you don't feel like you're necessarily getting authentic.
No, but this feels simple.
Right. There's no rib in McRib.
No, there is not. And by the way, I've never appreciated the McRib.
You've had it though.
I've had it, but I don't
love it.
It ain't for me. Dude, if I'm going to get fast food, I'm going to get like a burger in the middle of the day. It ain't going to be a fast food unless it's In-N-Out. I'll go get In-N-Out. But if it's not In-N-Out, dude, I'm getting Popeye's chicken sandwich 10 out of 10 times.
Oh, well, that's tremendous. That's a tremendous item.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 times. If I'm going, I'm skipping it, going straight to the chicken of it all. All right, final question. Did the Bucks just cost Giannis a shit ton of Nike money?
Yeah, they did. And this is bad. So the way it works, him 1 games. Now Giannis has had injuries, but Giannis has claimed for weeks now, not today, I'm healthy enough to play. The Bucks are thinking one of 2 things. Either he's gone, so we don't want to risk him getting hurt for trade value, or he's going to be here. This is a long season. Do not risk getting re-injured and missing part of next year. That's the Bucks' point of view. Giannis is saying, I'm healthy. I'm not one of these low management guys. I want to play the sport. And then also, which I didn't know about till today, he played 36 games, so we need to play 5 more. If he played half the season, a tremendous bonus. Nike, remember, he is from the Greek Freak. He's from Greece. Mm-hmm. He apparently sells a lot of merchandise in Europe in addition to America, because we're not even thinking about the world market a lot of times. Well, Nike is. Well, by 36 games, they just cost him a bunch of money, which means likely Giannis out of town. That's the kind of thing that most pro athletes do not get over when you mess with their money.
You know, it's funny. You know what it reminds me of a little bit? And I don't know if this is true or not. It's like one of those old sports wives' tales. Like Jolton Joe DiMaggio was a guy that is very much remembered for not being the nicest of guys. In fact, very kind of reviled by just about everybody and was a real dick to everybody. But they say that part of that reason, because remember, he did have a 56-game hit streak that is still legendary to this day. Still, no one's broken it. Closest that's ever gotten was Pete Rose. I think he got like 42 or something like that. But I digress. Apparently, and this is like the rumor that was always out there for years, and I think it's an old wives' tale, but it does make sense. They say part of the reason that Joe DiMaggio was such a prick was because that 56-game mark that he lost out to getting 57 was such a hit to him, because he had in place like the largest deal in the history of consumer products with Heinz 57 if he got to the 57th game, and he didn't. And they say that contributed to what a piece of shit Joe DiMaggio was. I don't know if it's true, but I like to believe it is.
That's a great story. I want to believe it. I mean, the man's been kicked a lot of times. Yes. Like, think about this man. His last words were, "I get to go be with Marilyn." Then he goes up to heaven. He goes to find Marilyn Monroe. He knocks on the door, and she's banging John F. Kennedy. Like, that's got to be heartbreaking in the afterlife. The man's had it tough. Apparently, there was that whole drain thing or the sprinkler system where he saw Mickey Mantle was going to hit it, doesn't say anything, lets Mickey Mantle get hurt. I mean, I've heard a lot of asshole stories about him. This one would hurt any of us. That one would hurt any of us.
That would be pretty fucked.
That would hurt any of us. Like, hey, like, because even just put it's all relative, right? But just think about today's dollars. Let's say a player's making let's say he's making $35 million. Let's say, because Joe D was a great player. So let's say he'd be on one of those Harper top contracts, Soto contract. Let's just say. Yes. But he did something so special that he was getting ready to get a $300 million endorsement deal. Like, yes, $35 million a year is great money, but $300 extra million is better. And you come one game short, all of us would be upset about it. All of us would be upset about it.
But that's where we were lacking the modern day sensibilities, because here's the thing. If I'm Joe DiMaggio in today's day and age, I go to Heinz and I say, you know what? Now we have a different campaign, because now I couldn't get to 57 because 57's too elite. You guys are that, and you guys don't let me into the club. That's a marketing campaign for years. Mr. 56.
Seven. Nothing beats Heinz 57. Not even me. I'm Joe DiMaggio. Like,
where was Don Draper back in the 1950s, man?
See, he's probably too upset to do it. Probably too much of a baby. They might have pitched that to him. It's like, no, get away from me. Get away from me. I'm Joe DiMaggio.
They do say that Joe DiMaggio was a real prick. All right, guys, let's get back to the sports of it all. Listen, I've not been quiet with you on this. I haven't been quiet with anybody on this. I love the ABS challenge system. In this last weekend, most walks ever in a 2-day span. Here's the thing. I've been saying all along I really like this, but it had to be put in play for me to like this. And I've also said I reserve the right in 2 weeks to change my mind. I'm not changing my mind, but when do the umpires just say uncle and we go to the full-on thing? Because it's being exposed in such a way, because they're going like, well, yeah, he missed 11 calls, but he could have missed 15 more if those were and I get why this is sucking so much for umpires. I don't feel bad for them, but I also, what do you guys just say uncle to the system?
It's time. They'll do this for 1 year, and then next year they'll just go to the automated system. And there'll still be somebody back there, because it happened yesterday. So I'm watching the national championship game, and it's late on the East Coast. But I want to watch Phillies Giants. We'll get to that in just a moment. The Giants part of it. And Schwarber's up. It's a full count. And the pitch is like it's high, way out of the zone. Schwarber now starts taking off. He immediately taps and just walks first. He takes off all the stuff as he knows the pitch is this much out of the zone. Like it's out of the zone.
It
right?
was his gear was already off and he was on his way.
Right, he's already there. So it's like, oh man, like yeah, it's 1 year and then no more. 1 year and then no more.
Yeah. That being said, I really do like it, but now everybody's starting to see what I was saying all along. Like, guys, they can do this every single pitch. Like, we should just do it. I get it. This is sponsored by T-Mobile, yada, 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 but something's got to give, right? We're just nationally embarrassing umpires a lot.
Yeah, enough is enough. You're right. You are right. Enough is enough.
Yeah, we're tar and feathering these guys. Even, and I hate umpires, but shit, even I'm like, Jesus, man, this is rough.
Now that was bad. Also, some of these challenges, like the one in the screen, you're just touching by such a small amount. Like I do give them grace on the close ones.
I do too. Like, cause that's like not fair. That's a millimeter, dude.
I mean, look at that. Like the one that's on the screen there. Like
I can't see that as a hitter.
Right. But the ones that are bad, those are the ones that bother me. Like the Schwarber one was bad. Yeah. It was clearly ball 4. It's a full count. You just rung them up. You were super wrong.
Dude, we're getting strikes overturned like that are called balls that are literally down the middle. Like, right. I'm not saying this is hyperbole. Down the fucking middle.
And those are the ones that go, I don't feel bad for you. On the edges, I've seen some of those nitpicky ones.
Those are tough.
I'm like, I don't even know you had the balls to challenge that one. But the ones that like where it's several inches outside the zone, those are the ones where I'm like, how did you get that wrong in the first place? Like the one with Kyle Schwarber against the Giants last night as the Phillies come back to win the game.
And they came back and won the game. And by the way, I'm glad you mentioned it because holy hell. Listen, I have not been quiet about how interesting I find the San Francisco Giants this year, and is because of their manager, Tony Vitello. It's a unique hire. It's a first-of-its-kind hire. A guy with no professional baseball experience whatsoever as your new manager of this team. And then, of course, you also hire the front office guys of Hall of Famer Dusty Baker, and you bring in Bruce Bochy, who won 3 World Series over there, and then you bring in this guy and that guy, and like you're surrounding a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Now, I'll freely admit, I'm not there, and I do not know how hands-on any of these people are, but this was Buster Posey's hire, and there's been something I want to push back on immediately. Everyone's like, hey, you got to give Dusty, you got to let Buster, this is his thing. Buster Posey's got to know what he's doing. Why do you guys think that? I don't know Buster all that well. I played against him a bunch. He seems like a smart, bright guy, but why does Buster Posey get the benefit of the doubt? Who said he's a good GM?
Yeah, I have no idea. Like we've seen enough time over the years without coaches or managers, etc. Like I remember when Nolan Ryan got let go with Texas. Oh, they're dead. They got to the World Series pretty quickly after they let him go. Like I don't know why we just automatically think because you played the game that you know more. And what I mean by this is like I'm on the air right now with a former pro athlete who understands sports, but I am telling you, I know dozens, plural, who played the game, was gifted at the game, knows their sport, their job, but does not actually know anything about how it's made. They were so gifted. Like Chase Utley's swing was the most compact swing with power I've ever seen in my life.
Beautiful swing. He
would have no idea how to tell you, Cody, to do that swing. He could do it, but would have no idea how to coach you to do it.
And I've had a lot of coaches like that, by the way.
Right. And he also would have no idea how to build a team. Also, everybody knows what you need to get through 162 games. You know about that. You know about that in the minors with the grind, with the travel. You know about that in the majors. You know about that. But you might not have a clue how to get me through 162 games because what I need and what you need is not going to be the same. And that's the tough thing about this situation with San Francisco. You have a Buster Posey who may or may not know how to manage a team, like manage an organization, know how to play it well, And then you hire a manager who may or may not have a clue of how to get grown men through 162 games. It's a double whammy, and I can't blame the manager any more than I can blame Buster Posey. They're both in this, and I don't know how it's going to go, but they're both involved in this.
Now, I want to also say this is very early in the season. We are only 11 games in. So, I don't think it's worth hitting the panic button yet, but I do think it's worth addressing that this is an experiment as far as I'm concerned. And it was an experiment right out the gate. And I'm interested. And also, I'm interested to see the longevity as a guy that's never spent a day in pro baseball. And I will admit, and everyone should probably admit, there have been hiccups on his end. He's given some weird press conferences. He's had some weird interactions with the press. He's, we've seen on the field, third baseman's yelling at the first baseman's catch the fucking ball. And then, Vitello trying to make a joke of it after the fact. But now last night going out and saying that there's been more instances of that in the clubhouse, of which, why would you tell anybody that should be in the clubhouse? That's your job to manage said clubhouse. And then obviously he gave a speech that he claimed to the press that riled the team up too much, and that's why they underperformed. And then Robbie Ray was asked by the press about it. He goes, yeah, I don't know what he's really talking about. We're grown men. We're pro baseball players. It's just, this is the weirdest dynamic ever. And they are off to a really bad start. They're 3-8. They're the worst team in the National League. They are currently a full game and a half, as of right now, to the Colorado Rockies, who are basically playing 13-year-olds at this moment. Just a full rookie team and rookie front office, all trying to start over from scratch. They've been bad in the field. This is a lineup, by the way, that is not bad. I don't know what to say. That's a good, you got Luis Arraez on that team. You got your first 30 home run hitter in 30 years on that team. I'm worried about what this is going to be, but I got to say, really excited to keep watching it.
It is fascinating. And I thought about Gabe Kapler, another former Giants manager, also former Phillies manager, where the Phillies were having trouble. It wasn't his fault the team wasn't that good, but they had Bryce Harper. And he talked about bringing in the curveball machine. And they go to Bryce Harper, and Bryce Harper's response was, first of all, he chuckled when he heard about the curveball machine. He's like, maybe some of those other guys will use it. I'm not going to use it. That's not how I get out of slumps. And Gabe didn't understand, because Gabe had went right from player, front office, right to manager. He had never managed anywhere. He had never coached anywhere. And then he gets another job with the Giants, and it doesn't work out. I understand outside the box, but how about this? I'm sure there's single A, double A, triple A managers that are looking for opportunities that have maybe never been in the show, but they understand what it takes. The other part is the Dominican League, the Japanese League. Obviously, you have to learn English. But why don't we ever take managers from other places where they deal with adults versus this one? And let me ask you, because you were at UCLA when they were good. What's the most games you played in this season in college? Do you remember roughly how many games you played when you took it all the way out? The most games you played? Because you've been a good college manager.
So 56 games, and then after that, you got a regional. So you get roughly 4 games in said regional, and then you get another 3 games or 4 games in you get 3 games in a super regional. So we're talking 60 games, give or take. The most I played was probably 62 games.
Okay. So that's less than half a season.
Yes.
And again, he's already through 11 games. So think about 11 games in a 62-game season and 11 games in a 162-game
No,
season.
I agree.
And that alone, I'm not talking about a guy from 120, 140. That alone is such a big difference. And while it's early, and I agree, does this guy have the mental stamina to go through 162 games?
I don't know. It's just, that's the thing. I want to see. I'm just terrified of how much the Giants fans want to see this, because I don't think they do. This team's won. We've forgotten. This team has won 3 World Series in the last 12 years. We have completely forgotten that. And right now, it feels like It really wasn't. I can't imagine those very, very proud Giant fans who hate the Dodgers more than fucking anything. They hate them. Watch the Dodgers do what they're doing, and we're experimenting in San Francisco. Fuck.
I'm rooting for him, but I do think if Buster Posey is going to be a long-term success, he needs to realize he will not ever have the payroll of the Dodgers. I'm telling you, even if they put in a cap, the Dodgers are going to find a way to circumvent in a way that the Giants aren't, as far as circumventing that cap. He can't be playing around. I hope he's humble going forward. This move has so much hubris. I know better, and I want him to be right because for the manager's sake, but I don't necessarily want it to be right for his sake, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. It's just, whew. I'm going to keep watching, man. I'm interested. Again, I'm with you because I'm actually rooting for this. I would like to see something that's outside the box. I'll freely admit, I don't know how, based on what I've seen so far, I have no idea how it's going to, but I would love to just be surprised. I really would. It'd be fucking killer, dude. I really would dig it.
It would be
All
cool.
right. It would be. What do you say we do it real quick? Let's shiggle. I'm shiggling about something that happened to me at the gym today because this is a bit of a pet peeve. I don't know if you guys all know this. Daddy lifts a lot of weights. He's pretty good at it. But let's be real clear.
400 some pounds on the deadlift. I see y'all.
400. That was 550, son. Don't you cut me down.
I'm trying to count plates quick.
5 plates plus the extra 50.
You put it on a story, 45. Anyway, I see you got it all racked up quick. I'm counting quick. I was like, that's a heavy ass deadlift. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyways, I was at the gym today. I was just on the bicep curl machine, not for very long. I was just trying to finish out like a final thing to finish my day. And a trainer came over to me and like insisted that I move for him. Didn't ask. Said, hey, I got to get one more set of him in here and we're gone. I'm like, I've been on this for like a few minutes. I'm doing like a burnout set. Happy. And I'm like, looking, I'm like, okay, I got 2 more sets. I'll let you go. And he just stood there and stared at me. I'm like, do you really need to use it now? He's like, yeah. I'm like, huh. All right, go. And I just stood up and let him do it. And then he leaves and I got back on there and finished. And he came up and said, oh man, I'm sorry. It's just a lot of things, not a lot of equipment. He had to get out of there. I just stared at him like, I'm still waiting for you to just ask permission. Like all you have to do is ask.
Please.
Like,
can I work in whatever it might be?
No problem. Can I work in? Can we work in a set? Absolutely. Absolutely. Step right in. You're a trainer at the gym. You don't live at the gym. This is not your home. I pay a fee to work out at this gym too. I just don't pay you because I don't need to pay you. I probably know more than you. So all you got to do is just be polite and be like, hey, man, can we work in? And you know what? I will say graciously, 100% yes. In fact, I'll actually leave this for the time being if you guys want to get more sets, and I'll go modify elsewhere because that's not a problem for me. Happy to be that accommodating. But the fact that he kind of rolled in like he had ownership of the gym and I had to move for him because this man is a trainer, dude, that ain't it. You're a trainer. You should fucking know gym etiquette.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Shout out to my trainer, Bruce. I see you on Thursday afternoon, once a week, year round. Work out my trainer, Bruce. I can't be looking crazy. Mine is have good people around you. Please have good people around you. I don't know if you heard about this Gucci Mane situation. Not that everybody should. You don't have to know about this, but he was, quote, kidnapped by a rapper named Pooh Shiesty. Now, the reason I'm telling this story, people, is this is the craziest story I've ever heard. So he had 3 albums left on his deal with Gucci Mane. He's currently on house arrest, and he has the ankle monitor on. This matters in the story. While he's on his way to force Gucci Mane to sign a new contract under duress, his father's involved in this. His father goes to Staples to print it out because he can't print it out. His dad does. There's another part of the crew that shows up also with an ankle monitor. While he's on his way over, his probation officer, his parole officer calls him and says, hey, you're supposed to be home. I can see on your ankle monitor that you're not home. Nah. He says basically someone else gave him permission to be out. Did not give him permission. Gucci's expecting them. It was a planned meeting. They walk into a room one-on-one and they say, I want to redo my deal. And Gucci says no. So they walk him into another room and pull out multiple firearms. Now note, his best friend is with him. His father is with him. And a bunch of, so these are the people that are around him. They force him to sign a new contract. This is all real. I'm not making any of this up. They force him to sign a new contract. Gucci doesn't date it. So rather than come to the senses, the father looks at the contract and rather than says, you know what, let's not do this, date it. Records him signing it with the date. Then they say, you know what, while we're here, we'll rob you. They take chains, Rolex watches, etc. The people in the crew the next day post on Instagram with the stolen property. Basically now, they're all facing 30 years. The contract's still good because it was signed under duress, and a person who was about to be off house arrest could have put out 3 hours and then been free is now going to do 30 years in prison, and his father's going to do 13 years in prison as well, all because he had a bad idea, and nobody around him could say otherwise. So the lesson for me is I'm not going to shoot anybody. I'm not going to rob anybody, but I might have a bad idea. Please, people around me, tell me when I have a bad idea so I don't do something stupid.
You're not going to have that bad of an idea.
No, not that bad. Not that bad.
Jesus Christ.
That's
this is
all
the
real.
Dumbest fucking criminality I've ever heard in my life.
Also, his security that they were all off-duty cops. So they were like, who told? Gucci told. No, the three off-duty Dallas cops that you robbed at gunpoint, they're the ones who told. No, he didn't, quote, snitch. You robbed 3 off-duty cops, and they let you rob them, and they didn't shoot back because you have ankle monitors on, and they knew where to get you. This is a real story that happened within the last week.
Forget the ankle monitors. They posted it on IG, bro.
Posted on IG. So his Rolex was custom. He went to a jeweler and he got diamonds in the band. And then they have the same Rolex custom on IG the next day. So the feds now have it set up. The feds win all the time. And it just made me think, like, I'm glad I'm not that stupid.
Enjoy your 30 years, dude.
Unreal.
You earned every day. Incredible. All right. It's time for us to go ahead and reflect. What are you reflecting on today?
You know, I think sometimes all of us, we take our health for granted. I was sick last week, snotting and stuff, had a fever. Mm-hmm. And now this week I feel better. And I say sometimes when I'm thinking about money and career stuff, as you know, we talk about that kind of stuff, I probably should just take a breath once in a while and go, you know what? It's really good to have your health. Without your health, you got nothing. Now, this was a mild thing, but the point is you take it for granted sometimes. So today I'm reflecting on, I'm glad I'm overall a pretty healthy person because I could not imagine people in chronic pain and things like that. And I'm glad that I'm blessed enough to have good health.
And yes, I take it for granted all the time too, because when I get the sniffles, and I was sick a week and a half ago, and I was miserable. Oh my God, I just never really appreciate when I'm feeling good, do I? I really should appreciate it more. Couldn't agree with you more. Mine is this, and you can yell at me, and I feel like I should be yelled at because apparently I have just missed out on an entire career of a pop icon. And when I say a pop icon, I don't know how she's a pop icon, and she's apparently having this big resurgence right now, and I know one song by her. Who was Robin, and where was I during this massive Robin?
Wait, Robin's back? Robin with a Y?
Yes, Robin with a Y.
Yeah.
I know the one song, but everyone around me is telling me that no, Robin's an icon, to which I'm like, define icon. I know one Robin song, and I like Robin. She seems awesome.
Yeah.
But
she's
apparently I've missed like a full-on like Celine Dion type of career that I'm not aware of.
Now, hold on. No. I'm trying to see what I have on my phone. I have With Every Heartbeat and Show Me Love. Those are the songs I have.
What's that other song? Like Dancing.
Do you know what it takes?
Dancing by Myself? song?
Oh, Dancing on My Own. Dancing on My Own. But I didn't really know her version. I knew the version the guy did because that's the one that the Phillies used. I mean, I'm aware of her version, but the Phillies didn't use her version. So I knew she sang it. I don't have that on my song. I have a couple of them. Hang With Me. Yeah. So here are her. She's been nominated for 3 Grammys.
That's awesome.
3 top 10 singles. That's not iconic. Dancing on My Own.
I'm sorry.
Hang With Me. Indestructible.
People are talking to me like iconic. People are talking to me like fucking Janet is back.
No. Cut it out. These are people trying to gaslight you because they like it. Gaslight you.
Thank you.
They gaslight you because they like it.
Can you text on your toxic thing because she is all over me, and I'm like, I feel like I'm being gaslit. Where was this Robin shit?
Right, nobody rocking with Robin like that. Nobody likes Robin like that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I told you I had 2 songs of hers on my phone. 2 songs, but like Sabrina Carpenter already has had a better career. She's been out 8 minutes. Like she's been out 8 minutes. She's already had a better run.
I know as many Chappell-Roan songs, and I
Chappell-Roan only has 2 songs, and you
I don't know anything else.
Songs, right? She only has a couple songs, and she's a jerk. Like, no, I hate.
And I'll never like her again.
Me neither. She's somewhere right now as we speak. She's sick of security on a 5-year-old. But no. I'm sick of y'all. I'm sick of y'all doing this. Okay, because what you end up doing is, did you have any negative issue with Robin before people started bringing her up to you? Nothing. I
don't have a negative issue now.
No, but what I mean is,
I'm being gaslit.
Once they call her an icon, now you're talking like you're almost denigrating her career. Not because you want to, but you know she's not an icon. So don't say that because you put me in the spot. Because if I'm honest with you, I'm going to tell you the truth. She is not an icon. She's had a good career. Career. She's not a Hall of Famer. She's had a good career.
People are talking to me like Aretha is back. And I'm like, right. It's Robin.
Right. Like I found out Ashley Simpson won the Masked Singer. Ashley Simpson more iconic than Robin. And I don't even like Ashley Simpson like that. She won the Masked Singer. That's the only reason why she's been in the news. So miss me. I hate when people do that because I have nothing bad to say about you, Robin, except when someone calls you an icon. Maybe in Sweden, but not in America. You're not.
Guys, this was a very good show. I'm very glad we did it. Tyrone, thank you for making me feel sane again. This has been driving me nuts all weekend. And, of course, as always, tell people where to find you because they got to check out your other shows.
Yes, Monday through Friday, catch me on the Craig Carton Show. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific, or you can catch us on the podcast or YouTube. And it's Saturday show. I host the Best Of show. And then you can follow me on social media at Ty Johnson News. And thanks once again for having me.
Looking forward to next week's Tyrone Tuesday. Guys, that is it for us today. Michelle Beadle back tomorrow right here at noon Pacific time. And, of course, like, share, and subscribe right here. Watch out for the Instagram. We'll be posting clips on top of that. Like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast. This show will be up later on tonight. And that's it for us. So go ahead and enjoy yourself some lots of baseball today and whatever you feel like doing. And until then, R.I.P. Estelle Getty.